And now we got a major problem because our bolt snapped off, taking it out of the cover plate. This was unbelievable. I can't believe this is how I'm starting my morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday. It's about 6:30 in the morning. I'm headed to my first job of the day, which is a cleaning on a Vidaris Logomax boiler. I believe it's the GB 142 or 162, as well as a maintenance on a Weil McLain Ultra. So I was at this gentleman's house already. He was having issues with both units, and it turned out to be low incoming gas pressure, literally like 2 inches of water column. I told him I'll come back once everything's fixed, so I'm headed there now. I'm starting the job at 7. Usually we start at 8, but he wanted to get it done earlier, so I figured I'd just come in earlier for him. Hopefully I get some good footage. These maintenances are both pretty involved. I've done a lot of Ultras on this channel, but I have not shown the maintenance on the Logomax, the GB boiler, so should make for some good content. Okay, so in the boiler room, there's our Vidaris, there's our Ultra, we have a Vidaris indirect, and I'll show you everything I'll be doing here. So we'll be doing cleaning on both of these boilers. I already brought everything down that I'm gonna need. Manometer, maintenance kit for the Ultra, socket set, vacuum bucket, special cleaning tool, gloves for anything that's hot. And in these 3 pumps, we have check valves, which are not needed because all 3 pumps run at the same time. It's a snow melt system. So we're gonna take those check valves out because he notices that it restricts his flow. And then for our Ultra, we'll do the normal disassembly and maintenance that I've shown many times, as well as disassembly and maintenance on this Vidaris, but we're gonna do that afterwards because it's early in the morning and the kids are still getting ready for school, so they need hot water and things like that. First things first, we disconnect all of our electric. Got our blower connections on both sides. There's low voltage and line voltage. Our exhaust temperature sensor, we'll just pull the whole thing out because this gasket will be replaced. The return temperature sensor and supply temperature sensor. And gas valve has a screw on it, so we'll get this screw off. Then we'll undo this gas union with the flex connector because our gas is shut off, and take it from there. Okay, so you can see there I pulled off my igniter, took all these 11mm bolts off from around the unit, and part of what's on the igniter screws, the hex head screws, is this grounding terminal, and you can see we get very charred and burnt, and this happens on all of them because some flue gas, I believe, makes it past this gasket, and they do give you a new gasket. I think if you replace that regularly it would prevent that, but most people wait a while before they get their systems maintenance. But now we have our electric out of the way everywhere, so we can pry carefully and get off this cover, which is pretty on there. I'm gonna wiggle it a little bit and then I'll pull it off. Well, missing a bolt didn't help, so now we can carefully pull it out, and we're not looking too bad. So here's our burner mesh, and everything looks nice and tight. Our refractory gasket seems to be okay. There's not too much buildup. Some light buildup on the top of the heat exchanger and overall looks very good. Partially because of how infrequently it's used due to it being solely a snow melt system. But I'll make sure to get this all nice and clean. And I may not even go in there with the sword because I don't want to take off the coating that they have on these aluminum fins. They put a coating on there so that the acidic water that builds up and is all over the unit doesn't eat away at it. And normally you would take this tool and go in between each individual section, but there's no real large chunks or anything to break down, so I'm going to avoid that and just take care of what I can as far as on the surface to prolong the life of the heat exchanger. Okay, so I scrubbed this with a nylon bristle brush and rinsed heavily with some water, which has gone through the trap, which the trap is clean. Neutralizing media, customer has to decide if he wants us to do that, or if he's gonna do it himself. He does commercial gas work, so he's fairly capable of doing different things, but right now I just took off all of our bolts and these little locking like flanges. You gotta bend this tip down to get access to the bolt, and hold this off. Look inside, we're pretty clean. I'll vacuum this and brush this off. I have a soft bristle brush on my vacuum, and I'll replace these. This is pretty crusty, and then this gasket as well, which is always a pain to get out because you got nowhere to grip. Sometimes if you stick like a needle is in there, yeah, you can just pull it out. And then I'm not gonna scrub this off with anything because it's all, you need like a stiff brush to do it, a stiff metal brush, and I had to stop the video here because I heard that chirp. And I get a lot of comments saying it wouldn't be a DC HVAC video without that chirping, so there you go. Again, I don't want to scratch the coating that the aluminum has that prevents it from rotting away. So just give this cleaning with the vacuum. And I may or may not use compressed air to blow this out, nitrogen, like I did in the lock and var video yesterday. Because that really got a lot of stuff out that you visibly couldn't really see. And probably get a good amount out of this, even though it's not too dirty. And you always want to inspect the mesh, make sure it's not broken anywhere. Like right here, there is a slight, looks like crack, but it's on the connection point, so that shouldn't be much of an issue. And I put on that gasket. I replaced this gasket as well, and then for this $3.99, there's no gasket for where the gas connection meets the blower. But one important thing is these tabs. You can see I didn't bend this one up yet, or that one. You bend it up so that the screw or the bolt doesn't back out with heating and contracting. It'll stay in place. And I see it a lot when people have done a maintenance and left that down, and the burner starts to sag or crumble, and then, not crumble, but pull off, and then you get big leaks of air and gas coming out of here, and it booms. And I've seen it where it might have been a possibility that when the boom happened, it actually pulled the plug in the aluminum that holds the threads, so he ended up needing a new cover plate because we couldn't bolt on the burner to the unit when we got a new burner. And now we have a problem. Taking off the screw, it got stuck in there, and now we have a screw in there, in the threads, the threading it. So now I gotta see what I could do about that. So I tried to see if I could back it out from behind, and it is so in there that it snapped my screwdriver head. And this is Klein, it's not like a cheap no-name screwdriver. Sheared that clean off. I mean, that is crazy. So I don't know, we're gonna have to end up getting a new cover plate, and we're probably gonna have to throw a self-tapper in for now so that it can be used. That stinks. That's crazy. Okay, so this is what I had to do, which stinks, but that was the only option. I tried to get a self-tapper in that hole. Self-tapper snapped in that hole, so we were working with drill bits, drilling holes, that way we could get the self-tapper in, and then it snapped in there. So now we're using just a self-tapper in a new hole. I did that electrical connection. We're all tight on all our bolts around the heat exchanger in sequence. New gasket on our flue sensor, and our gas pressure here, we have 6.46. We're gonna see how that changes as the unit kicks up and ramps up, if that affects the gas pressure over here, and what happens to that gas pressure when this runs. Because if you, as you saw, maybe there was a piece of electrical tape here that I took off. That's what they were using to keep this running, but we want that fuel air mixture to be right, so if we still have a gas pressure issue, then they're gonna have to address that. But we'll see what happens when we get it kicked on and everything like that. It was really disappointing that that snapped and that's the way that I had to get this running. But sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. And our gas pressure bouncing around, but really low. So that's going to be an issue. And there was combustion in high and low fire. That's the best it's going to get. For the Badaris, I disconnected gas and the wiring to our blower assembly. And then I covered this because sometimes when you pull off the bottom plate, you get water on everything, and I want to keep the controls dry. And then I'm going to take off these bolts and pull this out, and we can start unlatching the clips and pull all the burners off. This is how dirty we are inside this heat exchanger. That's a lot. And I'll wait for this section to cool a bit before I pull it off to take a look at that. And I'll dry vacuum everything first, and then I'll go in with some water, force some water through, pull off our flame sensor, get that cleaned off. But the flame sensor and igniter still look okay. So, and here's a look at the bottom, which isn't too bad. And this is one of our baffles that sits in there. Some of them have two baffles, but this is just one. And then this is our bottom plate that holds all the debris on it. So I'm gonna get my filter out of my shop vac so we can start working with water. Okay, so I did a little bit of a brushing and a vacuuming, as well as on the top. Now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna get this flame sensor and the igniter covered and protected, and we'll rinse with water. We'll put the bottom plate back on without the baffle and let water run through everything and really try to clean everything out. So, get started with that. Okay, so got just about everything I could out of it. Making it perfect is gonna take an eternity. So I'm gonna start reassembly and clean off our flame sensing rod as well. And should be good to go. Okay, so I finished up there. I don't know why I feel so tired from that. It's 11:06. I started at 7, so 4 hours. Yeah, good amount of time. Now I'm headed to an estimate in Queens Village. Then I have a Weil McLain Ultra is in lockout and not heating. And then I have a Weil McLain Ecotech that we installed is no heat or hot water, and supposedly has a pressure switch error. So we will see what is going on there.
In half a mile, take a slight left turn onto Douglaston Parkway.
The customer never called us for maintenance on that unit after we installed it, which he has a maintenance agreement that he signed up for, and he needs us to check it out after that first year for the warranty. We've not been having good luck with the Ecotech, so I'm not too thrilled to see what's going to happen when we get there, but off to this estimate. Maybe I'll take a clip of whatever the boiler looks like. It's steam, natural gas steam. Okay, so I just left there, the estimate. It's pretty straightforward. Boiler's fine for now. It's just the dry return line, and it's about 25 feet of dry return. We would do it in Mega Press, so it's not cheap, but it's not terrible on the pricing.
At the stop sign,
so
turn right.
Sent that out. We'll see what he wants to do. He said someone quoted him a cheaper price, and they're doing it all in copper. And we don't like to use copper, so you're not supposed to use copper. And he knows that. And he's selling the house, so he doesn't know for sure what he wants to do. He may even want to consider boiler replacement, because he thinks that they're not going to buy the house with a boiler that's 36 years old. So it's one of those steam boilers where all the controls are like ancient. The gas controls are obsolete. And about 2-3 hours after the estimate had been sent through to him, he did go ahead with approving that. So I'll have a video up in the near future of making that repair. We're pretty busy, so we got to fit it into the schedule as well as get the materials.
Francis Lewis Boulevard.
Headed to the next, which is a Weil McLain Ultra, no heat or hot water. I've done some repairs on this unit already. I've done maintenance on this unit already. He's a very nice customer. I've done a lot of work on his air conditioning. Yeah, so hopefully that goes smooth. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so maintenance reminder, lockout, high temperature limit. Let's see what's going on here. Get in contractor settings and go through everything. So if we look over here on our display, we had 202 on our boiler out, 199 on our boiler out, 183 on our boiler in, 70s on our system, which to me sounds like a circulation issue. Where are our system sensors? We got one going there, and another, let's see here. I see one, but we got two, so gotta find that second one. Anything up there? No. Maybe I'm blind. Right here. So our system is cold, but our boiler was hot, and that is our closely spaced T. Or no, it is not. Where is our closely spaced T? So we come up there, we go. We have our indirect tank that's separate. We got this coming out, right? We go up and through into here, out to our zones, and then back through here. So this is our closely spaced T. Not very close, but it's been like that way, so that's not going to be why we had an issue. I'm gonna bet it's our circulator pump for the boiler itself. Probably not moving water within the boiler. Let's see if we have any power going to it now. What our amp draw is. Nothing. Oh, 1.5. Yeah, that circulator's shot. Definitely not rated for 1.5. The rating plate's not there anymore, but I'm certain that's shot. So we're gonna shut our system down if we can find our burner switch right here. Make sure we don't have power there anymore, but we shouldn't. And then we can isolate. There's a ball valve there, ball valve there, ball valve here, ball valve here. Drain pressure, swap circulator, and on to the next. Okay, so the boiler's pretty loud because of the blower, but here's our readings. Looks like our supply and our return temperature sensors are reversed, but our boiler out and our boiler in temperatures are okay. We got 135 and 94, so we're returning warm, coming out hot right here. So we got circulation. We'll just make sure that continues to run okay and monitor it. I shut the system down for a minute because I moved our supply sensor to our supply line, which was originally right here, and I moved our return sensor, which was right here, to our return line up here. So we should get better, more sensible readings now. Maybe they're closer to the boiler temperature already. Just hit standby on our hard to read display, so we're all good to go here. Working for domestic and space heating, and we satisfied, so nice. Okay, so I finished up. Just going to stop at the shop. It's 5 minutes away from here, and I'm gonna pick up the kit for the Ecotech with all the Ecotech parts, and I'm going to head over to that Ecotech job and see if I can make the repair. And for your information, all you people that hate that I call tech support, I did not call tech support for that Ultra. I know the Ultras now like the back of my hand. I think I could fix them with my eyes closed. If someone just read me the display, I think I could tell them how to fix it, or I could
in half a mile,
tell
turn left onto West
them enough
Broadway.
useful information. They're pretty straightforward machines. They're not as complicated as the Compis, so. And they're gonna cut me off at the light. But yeah, so I'm gonna grab that bin, head to the next, and see what happens. There's the Nassau Coliseum, which is where I went to get the infamous shot. I got the first shot and the second shot because I had to, because I worked in Manhattan and I needed a card that said it to get into any of the jobs. But I haven't gotten any others since. No boosters. So far, no side effects. I'm still alive, but we'll see what happens in 20 years. Okay, here is our unit. Air pressure switch fault. And here's our pressure switch. Take a look. The tubing is connected. And we're connected down there. But we're full of water. Why are we full of water? That looks to be filled with water to me. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I think I'm wrong. Okay. Let's see if I disconnect this pressure switch here. And we are full of water. So we got a clog in our condensate line. Why? I'm gonna investigate. The pump, it's not gonna pump right now because it's not full up to the float.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've seen it actually work.
Yeah, what's happening is we're not draining before the pump, yeah. Why? I don't know, but we'll take it apart and see. So I pulled and cleaned out our condensate trap. I put it all back together and I just powered it back on. And we're gonna see what happens. I'm sure it's gonna turn on, but how long will we run for? Make sure that we drip out our condensate without any issues. So I'm going into boiler settings, and I'm gonna change the set point temperature for space heating up to 180, because the customer did notice, actually I'll go up to 170, because the customer did notice that the house was slower to heat up when it was really cold out, like it was noticeable. I put it at 160 for efficiency, but we want to make sure that the house can get nice and warm. This pressure relief valve, well, that's a new one now, but it was dripping. That was the pressure relief valve that came with the flush sets. So we put in the ones that we like to install, which is these. And we're at less than a year on this install, so everything here today is no charge, but I don't want to have to come back. No offense.
Don't take it.
I'm sure you don't want me back either. And I'd like the pump to go through a cycle so I can be sure that it's draining well. It did just pump away, but I want to make sure that it does it again. But we're not really going to condense at this high of a temperature, so I'm going to run the hot water down here. Does this sink drain okay?
Normally, unless my son just did a freaking lip load.
Okay.
Yeah.
Getting hot water. Because it'll make more water if it's running for hot water. And now we wait. Make sure we got nothing building up back there. I'll turn the flash on and see. No, we're not building up there. At least not yet. So we'll just have to wait it out and make sure everything goes okay. Trying to see if that trap looks fuller. No, it looks like it's at about the normal level. Yes, so you can see it in here. We are definitely draining. Try to zoom in on that. It'd be funny if it stops now that I said that. Yeah, you can see the water's flowing. And we're flowing in here as well. It's harder to see, but I'll just make sure that this fills up and discharges with no problem. I find it odd that it needed to be cleaned so soon. I'm going to do a combustion test as well, just to make sure everything's burning properly. This is the Ecotech that I live streamed the installation of while Mike was away. And I think right now he's away where he was away when I did this. So that's kind of funny. I'm just grabbing the testo. I want to do a combustion test, and I want to wait out for a little bit. I don't want to be back. I was here for another issue not long ago. It was a radiator started leaking, but I was able to fix that. That was just an old valve, had to be replaced. Okay, well, as I walked out, the customer called me and said that we got a problem, and the system's leaking water from a radiator, and it's a steel line that we're not equipped to repair today. So I'm gonna cap that line off for now to the radiator so that we can have heat everywhere else, and we could come back at a later date to fix that. It's unfortunate, but it's just is what it is. I'll show you it. And this is that leak right there. It's above the floor, but it's too close to the floor. We're gonna end up having to replace that whole line. True. Got caps and nipples in on there. I was gonna do valves, but the customer would have rather done cap, so that's what we did. And I just filled up the system. We're sending heat over here, and I'll just make sure we get heat out of the radiators. Okay, so that's it. It's getting dark out, so the camera's a little bit blurrier because I got to use the van camera. But capped them off. Boiler's running. He's got heat everywhere else, just not the bathroom. It's better than nothing for the time being. It was funny. I was going around making sure he got all the radiators were getting warm, and he's kind of with me doing it. He's a really nice customer. I like him a lot. But he goes to feel the bathroom radiator that I just cut off, and I was like, that was not gonna get hot. I just cut it out, and he was like, oh wow, am I that dumb? And then afterwards, we went upstairs to like settle with payment, and then I really seriously was like,
turn right.
oh, did you get heat up to the bathroom radiator? And he almost fell for it. He almost went and checked. It was funny, but he caught it. And he not only tipped me after I left the first time, but when he called me back and I ran back inside and then fixed this sudden pipe burst, he tipped me again, which was really, really nice. Yeah.
Use the left lane to keep left.
It's nice getting
onto
tips.
Broadway.
Sometimes I feel bad though, because it's like you spent this amount of money just on repairs. You know, it's my job. You don't have to tip me. We looked at his fish tank for a while. He's got a saltwater fish tank. He's put some different fish in it, cool colored fish. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the video. Like the video if you liked it. Like it if you didn't like it. Comment any advice or criticisms or feedback.
Use the right 2 lanes to take a slight left turn onto Broadway.
And subscribe. Thanks for watching.